Hey there, good morning to episode 104, Fresh Air at 5. In this episode, you're going to hear me talk about my one word 2023. I'm going to bring up some AI, learning that I have done a little bit of that. And we've got some other great podcasts that I reflect on, Seeing to Lead, Teaching Champions, and some others. All right, so without further ado, episode 104 of Fresh Air at 5.
I'm Anne, co-host of Transparency in Teaching, a part of the Education Podcast Network, just like the show you're listening to now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other interesting education podcasts at edupodcastnetwork.com.
Welcome to Fresh Air at 5, the podcast. I'm your host, Brian Carpenter. Fresh Air at 5 is my regular attempt to exercise by walking about my neighborhood to take in podcast content, then reflect in an unedited video, which I finally post to my Twitter channel. This podcast will be a regular collection of the audio from these selfie videos. You can follow me on Twitter at Fresh Air at 5 or check out my website, briancarpenter.com, for other content I have created and collected.
Hey PLN, Happy New Year to you, 2023. Here we are. I've been in British Columbia here now for 23 years, and I started as a research scientist about this day 23 years ago. And I did that for 7 years and then switched gears and then became a teacher. And so thankful for the journey that I've been on, where I've come from, where I've been. Take a listen to Grateful for this journey, episode 100 of Fresh Air at 5, if you want to hear more about what's going on a little bit. All right, this morning as I'm walking, I listened to Seeing to Lead with Dr. Chris Jones as he talks with Bo Ryan, who's a principal in Connecticut, and talks about the book that he has written called Brilliance in the Building, and just talking about PLCs and how PLCs done the solution tree way can make a big impact and a big difference. So there are many variations and ways of going about it, but the solution tree way, and I am not intimately familiar with that at all, but I know they have a PLC template and guide for how to do PLCs in your building to increase school culture and collaboration and all things like that. And Bo talks about how he has done that in his school with teachers, leadership, students, and to make a difference in his school for the school culture. School culture is so important. When I was a student teacher, we were supposed to go to a school and observe and make some guesses about what school culture was about. At that time, I saw surface things, but did I see the deep things? Nope, not at all. It's those deep things that make a difference in students' lives. It's the teachers that do certain things that make a difference in students' lives. And the podcast, Seeing to Lead, that came up today is called Care Enough to Take Action. That's about Bo going to students' houses in the neighborhoods, walking into their homes and talking with them and making a difference in their lives. All right, take a listen to Seeing to Lead. Chris Jones, Bo Ryan. All right, have a good one. Talk to you soon. Bye. The last thing for January 2nd, 2023, as I'm wrapping up my walk this morning, I ran into a neighbor, had a great conversation with her. Also, I listened to episode 101 of Define University podcast with Lindsay Titus. And Lindsay, thanks so much for your thoughts as you share about your future self and about how we can approach our future self with confidence and almost goal setting, but small step things that we can do. People, if you have not heard episode 99, episode 100, and episode 101 of Define University podcast, I would encourage you to listen to that and go take a listen, because Lindsay has a mini series. It's kind of a mini series about where you've been, where you are, and where you're going. And from the merry-go-round to momentum for motivation to your future self. And so it's so good to hear her talk. And this is perfectly situated, Lindsay. A couple of things lined up. You got your episode 100 in the middle of this, which is pretty significant and exciting to hear. Another thing that happened is that this landed right on top of New Year's 2023. Not by accident. I think that's awesome. That's fantastic that you were able to bridge last year and this year and almost the goal setting, New Year's resolutions kind of thing that's going on. People, this is not New Year's resolutions. This is not setting yourself up for failure. This is about actually making a difference for yourself in your life, that you can be better today than you were before. So, Lindsay, thanks so much. I like the triangle exercise. I'm going to partake in that, not right now, because I don't have pencil and paper, and I'm not going to take the time to do it right now, but I will soon. About looking at the future self of me in one category. Don't know what I'm talking about? Take a listen, people, to episode 101. Big shout out to Lindsay. Proud of you. All right, thanks for sharing. Look forward to hearing from you soon. Okay, bye-bye. Hey, PLN, January 3, 2022. I'm out walking for fresh air at 5 this morning, and it was nice and crisp and clear when I started. And now the snow is falling. A little bit of light flakes of snow coming down. It's not sticking on the ground yet, but we got some snow. It's exciting. It's refreshing. So this morning, as the snow is falling, I'm reminded of the gift that the weather is to us. You know, there are points in time when we don't like the weather. We can't stand the rain. We can't stand the baking heat, but we need to be aware that the weather is a gift, as is other things in our lives. And this morning, as I'm walking, I listened to the Teaching Champions podcast, and it's the episode that came out on New Year's Day with Brian Martin. And Brian, thanks so much for the work that you do in bringing teacher champions to the forefront and to being on your podcast so that we can hear their voices. The most recent teacher champion you brought out was Livia Chan. And Livia, my friend from Burnaby, was the guest on the episode that aired on New Year's Day. So, yes, Olivia brings to us atomic interactions. She talks about every interaction and the small, minutest interactions that we have with one another and with our students and people around us are so important in changing the trajectory of our lives. We might not realize the impact of these small atomic interactions. Hey, Liv, did you know that they recently, and I heard this as hearsay, but they managed to accomplish nuclear fusion, where they smash two protons together to make hydrogen gas, or helium, I think it was. Anyhow, the whole point is these little things smashing together can have a big impact. So yes, take a listen to this episode. I recommend it to you. Highlight for me, Brian Martin, was the small things that we have in our lives to see them as gifts. Even the snow that's falling on me now. Love ya, Brian. Peace. Love you guys. Okay, bye-bye. The last thing for January 3, 2022, as I'm finishing up here, I turned on Prairie Rose Possibilities podcast that comes out of the Prairie Rose School District in southeastern Alberta around Medicine Hat. And my friend Cami Canikins, hey Cami, how are you? Glad to hear your voice on the podcast as you share season 3 with us, which you dropped on us at the end of November into mid-December. And I didn't catch up on those at that point. And now I've just listened to season 3, episode 13, as you talked with Scott Angle out of Senator Gershaw School in Bow Island, Alberta. And this Prairie Rose Possibility is about the greenhouse that they have growing at this school and the interaction that they have with their farms or their gardens. And, you know, the kids at the Bow Island Elementary School, which is fantastic. So cool to hear the challenges of, bugs being an issue and watering and getting 2 harvests out of a greenhouse in the course of a year so that students can enjoy the produce and see the fruit of their labor come to light. We have little garden beds at our school that we put in, so we have an opportunity to grow some plants. We've tried to grow some vegetables in the past and had a little bit of harvest from those. But being in the community, it's more for the taking of the people of the community that come by and take our carrots and things like that. All right, as I'm finishing up here, I want to talk about Bow Island and something I learned about Bow Island. A friend of mine from university was from Bow Island, Alberta, and before that, I didn't even know Bow Island existed, being from Calgary. But Bow Island is where the Spitz Sunflower Seed Company was located. I say is because I learned just yesterday on doing some research that Spitz opened in 82 and closed in 2019 after PepsiCo sold it to an American company and it's no longer there. All right, that's all for now. Have a fabulous day. Brian out. Bye-bye. Hey, PLN, January 4, 2023. Well, I'm noticing that I'm saying 2022 still, so that's one of my short-term goals for this week is to make sure I get all my 2023s in the right spot, say the correct month and things like that. So, yes, it's January 4th, 2023. Yesterday was our first day back to school and got into the classroom, got to see our students. Fantastic to reconnect with them and get going again with learning. So we had some time to reconnect, got into some one word with my students to talk about goal setting and how one word is a different way of thinking about that. And I have my one word, and I don't know if I want to share it because I'm not confident and settled on my one word yet. Maybe I will. Okay, so my one word right now, that might change before the end of the week is forth. To come forth, to bring forth, to make visible, to bring from the start. And so it's kind of an abstract idea, and I don't know if I'm settled on it. So I got to still do some work on thinking about what that means, but it's on its way. Speaking of sharing New Year's resolutions in one words, I listened to Eric Geis and Nick Johnson on Gut Tech, the podcast, and they share their New Year's resolutions, talk about how their holiday has been and reflecting and things like that. And gents, you know what? It's good to hear you talk about this out in the open because it's a way of us confirming that we have said these things to someone else and people are listening to that. So I think it's a nifty platform that we have. I don't know what people that podcast do and how do they share their message, maybe on Twitter or things like that, or, in a blog or whatever. But this is us talking and getting out. So it's fantastic. I like your format of your show as you guys had your 4 rounds, 4 different lesson plan ideas that you came up with. It's interesting to listen to, but I don't know how applicable it is to me in my right now. Other than just listening to you guys be creative, I think that is the big part. All right, tech coaches could use this idea as well. All right, with that, have a good day. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. Hey, PLN, Friday, January 6, 2022, out for Fresh Air at 5 this morning. It's Friday morning, and it is 8 degrees Celsius. Thankful that it is warmer because it has been pretty cold here recently, and it's nice and dry this morning, so thankful for that. Yesterday morning, I skipped Fresh Air at 5. Was feeling exhausted, back to school and doing the things that are your routine because I got out of routine over the break. So, it was good to have a break, and it's good to get back, but I was so tired and I had a problem that I was trying to work out for my media design 11-12 students about how to collaboratively create in a Google slide format, but not in Google Slides. And I was wrestling with that, and my conclusion is right this moment, I'm just gonna stick with Google Slides. My district's getting out of Google into Microsoft, and I'm trying to be proactive and trying to push on the edges of Microsoft to find out how I can do the things I do in Google in Microsoft. So this is not seamless in my opinion. Okay, I just said it right there. This morning as I'm walking, I listened to season 6, episode 2 of Shooks and Giff with Jen Giffen. And thanks, Jen, for sharing. Man, that was awesome to hear all of the AI tools that you have come across. And ChatGTP is on the top of that list. And that was what prompted you to go looking for these different tools. And, you know, I don't think I have to write anything ever again. I can put it in one tool, 2 tools, and move it to the 3rd tool, and before I know it, I'll have a completely AI-generated thing that won't be able to be followed on a plagiarism checker. That's not right. But I don't know. It's a wrestle, right? Like you said, students know about these things. They're telling you about these things. Also, so take a listen to what Jen has to say about that. That's important. There's learning English with eJoy. There is captions on. I'm starting to be captions on, Jen. I started with some shows because I couldn't follow the words or it's loud in the room. Turning captions on. All right, that's all. Happy Friday. Talk to you guys. Take a listen. Bye. One more thing for January 6, 2022. Jake Miller, this one's going out to you because I listened to episode 16 of the EdTech News Brief that dropped this morning. And thanks so much, dude, for dropping this episode and the content you provided. My goodness, I think, you know, if we say the universe is speaking to us, I just listened to Jen Giffen on season 6, episode 2 of Shooks and Giff talk about AI writing tools and how we are looking at a new threat or opportunity. I don't know. It's one of those things, right? That's coming our way and that is already on our doorstep. And in episode 16 of the EdTech News Brief, Jake deals with the initial foray of ChatGTP as an AI chatbot that can do some significant writing and work that is undetectable by plagiarism checkers. And so, you know, it is a threat. Things that, you know, we hold dear, the fact that, you know, students have to go to the library to find that information. Well, made it just more lock it down because they couldn't go to the library because we just keep the library locked. But, you know, the libraries have opened and it's all over the internet. And now we have these tools that we've only seen in movies like Iron Man and, you know, HAL from Space Odyssey 2000, you know, and different things like that. I don't know if I got that movie name right, but you know, and just the different AI that we see in our movies. In Star Wars, we've got C-3PO and R2-D2, the droids that do things, you know. Those are like artificial intelligence devices that can do things. You know, Jake, you bring up some awesome points about the benefits potentially and the, you know, negative parts of ChatGTP. At the outset, I think teachers go plagiarism. You know, I wrote, checked it out a little bit, and I've got a blog post that I'm going to put on my website. And I asked even ChatGTP, how do I reference you? And so that we can be referencing where we're getting our content from and, you know, putting the reference down. All right, that's it. You know, take a listen to what Jake has to say. It's really good, and Jen as well. Okay, peace out, guys. Happy Friday. Bye-bye. All right, the last thing for January 6, 2023, as I'm wrapping up my week, I thought it would be important that I share my one word publicly, and I did earlier in the episode, so you may have caught that, but I said I was maybe mulling over changing the word or things like that. I worked with my students again yesterday on their one words, and while that was happening, I was thinking about my one word a little bit more. And my one word for 2023 is an adverb. It is the adverb forth, F-O-R-T-H, and it means to come from a starting place or bring to the fore or to make visible. And so, you know, how does that play into what I'm doing? And it could have implications for me about, you know, how I teach, how I share on social media, how I, you know, shine a light on things that are going on, good things that are going on, even maybe some bad things that are going on. And hopefully maybe Fresh Air at 5 will be the beneficiary of that as I, share on my podcast so that we can get information out there. This episode, I talked about AI a little bit and, my thoughts about it a little bit. And I think it's not going to go away. Jake brings up a good point in the EdTech News Brief episode 16 that, what do you do with cell phones and Wikipedia when they started, and how did you approach those as a system of educators in your spaces? All right. Hey, my one word 2023 is fourth. What's your one word for 2023? Reply to the tweet that's going to be here, as well as even drop me a tweet after you listen to the episode on episode 104 of Fresh Air at 5, coming out tonight at midnight. All right, without any more, I'm going uphill and I'm breathing hard. I'm going to say see ya. Have a happy Friday. We will see you guys next week. Peace out.
As my one word for 2021 is appreciate, I appreciate you giving me a listen as I've created this podcast experience for you. It's a unique Blinkist or Coles Notes version of the content I take in, like a highlight reel, so that you can hopefully find other interesting podcasts you may not have considered before. I've recorded the specific podcast episodes in the show notes for your learning convenience. Please subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming episodes. And if you enjoy this podcast and its format, share it with someone else. Tweet about your experience or give it a review on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to podcasts. Fresh Air at 5 can also be found on Voice Ed Radio. Your voice is right here, and on the Education Podcast Network, Podcasts for Educators, Podcasts by Educators. I hope you have a fantastic day and get some fresh air before the day is out, and take care of yourself because you're worth it.